Setting up a project should be simple, but in reality, it is where most confusion begins. Who owns what? What are we actually delivering? And how do we measure success? Without structure, teams start fast and finish tired. With structure, teams start aligned and finish confident. That's why every project must begin with a setup flow that scales, linking goals to stakeholders and deliverables into one clear narrative before even one single task is assigned. Digital transformation projects usually fail less from technology than from misalignment. When goals, ownership, and expectations aren't clarified at the start, then everything that follows becomes reactive. Strong setup ensures that everybody understands the project's whys, whos, and whats. Stakeholders are visible and not hidden in email threads. Goals connect directly to measurable deliverables. Governance and accountability exists before the first sprint or deadline. So it is important to have a documentation of your project setup. And you can do it in several different tools. Microsoft has its own Microsoft project tool. Jira could be a good platform to do it. Even you can use a Word document or an Excel, or you can do this in Google's G Suite. I made a platform for myself where I track all the projects that I am working on, and I am going to present this project setup in my platform. It is free to use. It is in an early beta state. So when you are using it, try to give some feedbacks in the comment, or you have a feature for this in the platform. You can find the link to it in the description. So welcome on my platform. This is where you can set up your project just to practice what I have mentioned before in theory, or to use it as a tool for managing your projects in your organization. If you are new to this, then this is a good training ground for that. It's easy. You just create a new account for yourself, and project creation is easy as clicking a button, which already happened, and we already in our project dashboard. Go into goals and add our first goal. It is important to mention that this is the first step in the project, defining our vision and goals. And when you are phrasing your goal, phrase it as a preferred outcome, not as an action. So instead of saying implement Power BI, you should say improve operational reporting efficiency by 25%. Sounds clear? And it is a preferred outcome. Each goal needs to be classified somehow by type or category and linked to measurable outcomes. For example, right now, this goal fits into the operational category and is going to have a target value, which is 25%, and unit of measurement is %. Anything else can be added later, but these are the basics that a goal needs to include. Step 2 is going to be mapping stakeholders and their roles in our project. Let's move to the project organization section. Click on Edit. Each key person or group has to be defined with role of function, dedication, or FTE, which is given in %, influence and interest in our project and in the organization, and the preferred communication channel. This matrix is going to be our first light RACI view, which means who is accountable, who is informed, and who actually moves the work forward. The other important thing is to mention is this person's dedication to this project. Why is that important? Because we have to watch out for early signs of overload. If one person is showing 60 or 80% dedication across multiple projects, it is a red flag for later bottlenecks. Let's say because this is a high priority project, this person is going to take part in it 40% of his time. What does this mean? It's called FTE. It's a full-time employee. That means he's working 40 hours a week. And when you are counting 40% of his time, it is going to be around 15 hours a week. And we have to understand that this is a huge dedication to one project. So let's save it. And now we have our first stakeholder identified in our project. Third step is going to be creating measurable deliverables. It is a mouthful, I know. Okay, navigate from our project integration module to our delivery module and into the deliverables section and create our first deliverable. Deliverables are where business intent meets execution reality. They are the backbone of our traceability. It needs to have a title and a short description, an acceptance criteria, which is the definition of done or what done means. It has to have a planned start and planned end date. We need to attach it to a responsible owner, and it needs to be related to goals and the VBS or work breakdown structure phase. You are going to notice a jump cut at this point because I filled out all the details for this deliverable just to present this example. So this new deliverable is going to be to deploy Power BI dashboard with automated refresh. It is kind of the next step or next milestone that we want to achieve. The description is going to be to implement and publish Power BI dashboard that consolidates key operational metrics into a single interactive view, configure secure data connection, etc., etc. You can read it out. Acceptance criteria is going to include 5 steps that I consider as a project manager after the consultation with the Power BI expert, that these should be the steps for the definition of done. It is not attached to a VBS phase right now at this point of the project creation, but we already have a responsible person who is accountable as we already set him up. We have a planned start, let's say it's today, and we have a planned completion, which is a week from today. And these are the basic information that needs to be filled with deliverable and create. And with that, our first deliverable is created and we can start it even. Okay, let's continue with step 4. In this step, we are going to link the whole context. We are going to identify risks, assumptions, and dependencies. After creating the first deliverable, we are going to navigate to the next module, which is monitoring and control. We are going to identify our first risk. I already created the first one, so it is going to be like data source instability, mitigated by daily sync job. It gives us an opportunity to score the probability of this event to happen and the severity or impact when it happens. The probability is going to be 4, which is high because this is one of the main risks when somebody is setting up Power BI dashboard. And severity when it happens is going to be 4, which is major. And these two together is going to be a multiply calculation. So it's going to give us 16, which is a critical risk. So we need to create a mitigation action. So we need to prepare our project organization for these events. What if it is going to happen? And create a plan to set it into motion. And we have to identify the accountable person. We can give additional notes, but basically our first risk is identified. So we are going to see this is identified and risk level is 16. And we have a mitigation action for it. It is good enough at this point. Next is going to be the assumption section, which is in the project integration module. And I created the first assumption. My assumption is that data sources required for the Power BI dashboard, ERP, CRM, and finance system are stable, accessible, and contain accurate data structures. When we create our assumptions, it is smart to detail our rationale behind it. Why do we have this assumption? Validate it with an expert if our assumption is false, and what risks and mitigation actions can be implemented when it happens. So we can link our risk to it, update our assumption or create our assumption. And our first assumption is basically done. Our next step is to navigate into our monitoring and control module and open our traceability matrix, and we can see that so far what we have created, our one goal, our risk, assumption, and one VBS phase is linked to the deliverable that is already established. So what we need to do at this point is creating dependencies to them. When we have multiple deliverables, risks, goals, assumptions, and work breakdown structure phases, we need to establish their relation with each other. And this is what the traceability matrix is for. And this context turns planning into foresight, not hindsight. Basically, this is the end of our journey together throughout this scalable project setup. It is first and foremost traceable. Goals linked to deliverables, deliverables linked to owners. It is scalable, works both for a 2-week sprint and a year-long transformation. It is pretty transparent. Stakeholders see what matters to them, and it is, last but not least, sustainable. Easy to audit, easy to onboard new members, because we are not just starting a project. We are creating a living contract between execution and vision. This level of structure transforms the project into a measurable initiative. My name is Christoph Frey. I am a digital transformation expert and an organizational change architect. I help organizations connect strategy, technology, and people, enabling teams to grow through digital transformation. If you are still here, thank you for your attention. See you in the next video. I hope I provided some value.